Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'd like to talk to you about healing practices that you can do after you've experienced a miscarriage. So before we even get started, can I just say I am so sorry that you're here and that you're watching this video and that this is even something that you have to deal with. I myself have had 3 losses, so we experienced 3 losses in about the space of 12 months. Each one was devastating and broke me apart a little bit more. I talk to you now and I'm able to hold it together because I've done a lot of work since then. And I don't say that lightly because after our 3 losses, I was in a really broken place. I had lost all hope that we would ever have another baby. We stopped trying because I just needed it to be off the table for a while. And yeah, I just want you to know right from the start that I've been there too, and it can and does get better. And I really want to share some of the things that I did to come to a place where I feel like I'm on the other side of it. And while those babies are always going to be dear to me and I'm always going to feel that grief around them, I do feel like I am in a really good place now. So I just want to share from this place. If you are brand new here, welcome. So my name is Bettina Ray. I'm a yoga teacher and I specialize in yoga for fertility, for pregnancy, birth, and early motherhood. First of all, let me say I am so sorry that you are here in this shitty club that you never wanted to be a part of. And it really is that, and I wish I could lessen the pain of it, but unfortunately I can't do that. I personally believe the only way through the grief and to deal with and find some healing from the grief that you're currently experiencing is to go through it. You can't distract yourself from it, you can't run away from it, you can't ignore it. You really do have to allow yourself to experience what you're feeling and find ways to move through it. So most of these practices are things that allow you to sit with and feel what is going on for you. You're still in the stage of really needing distraction and really trying to run from it. That's okay, that's definitely a part of the process. But when you're ready, maybe come back to these practices and allow yourself to start working through some of that grief. So the first thing that helped me so much was journaling. So right around this time that I was really struggling, I came across Julie Cameron's book, The Artist's Way, and in it she talks about morning pages. So I've loosely followed that idea ever since. Just simply getting up of a morning, and the first thing that I do is I try and write 3 pages in my journal. And she talks about it being a stream of consciousness and not editing and just kind of letting it all roll out, which I mostly do. Some days I'm a little more structured and I think about my writing a little bit more. Some days I ask questions and then answer my own questions. Other days I'll write gratitude lists. Other days I'll just brain dump everything that is making me feel yuck right now. So some days it is just streams of thought, other days it changes slightly. It really doesn't matter what you write, the process of writing is what is helpful. And I've since read a lot of research where they found that writing for just 15 minutes a number of times on the experience that you're trying to overcome really helps to help you work through the trauma of it, which is really fascinating and definitely something that I have found personally. I still write every day, and now it's not so much focused on the loss of my babies, it's more focused on day-to-day things, but it really does help me just get my mind clear, helps me kind of release things that I feel stuck on, and really just puts me in a right frame of mind for the day. So I really suggest trying journaling if you're really struggling and feeling really lost and hopeless. It can really help. The second practice that I really recommend you doing is just some self-oil massage. And the reason why I found this really helpful is because after you lose a baby, you really do start looking at your body like you failed me. And I know for me personally, I didn't want to even look after myself well. I just felt like, well, what's the point now? Why should I bother? But starting to incorporate an oil massage into every day. So I would have a shower and I would use a bit of coconut oil and some geranium oil just because I love the smell of it. And I would just massage my belly. So starting with this place that I throughout the day was feeling a lot of resentment towards, so my womb space, and just kind of reconnecting and showing my body love even though I wasn't feeling it. And little by little, I started to feel better about my body and was able to get back to that mindset of being grateful for what it had done for me. So I personally found that self-massage was a really great way, sort of overcoming those negative feelings I was holding towards my own body. So the third thing that I really recommend is movement. I found movement really helpful for shaking off those really yuck feelings of grief. So when I was just so sad and I felt like I couldn't shake it, or when I felt desperation and I found myself like looking, seeking for something, whether that be in the pantry, seeking for some sort of soothe, or I just didn't want to get out of bed. I found movement really helped to kind of shake it off. And of course, we know movement helps to build endorphins in the body, which is those happy hormones. So that's one aspect of it. But I really do believe also movement physically shakes the grief out of our body. And they've done studies on animals which find that they do exactly this. Animals like elephants, which are really big herd animals, and family is so important to them. If an elephant dies, they're literally seen afterwards shaking their body, and it's part of their process of grieving. It's shaking it out. And I think sometimes we get so still and stagnant in our grief, we just want to hole up in bed and not move. But if you can get out and do something, you are going to feel a whole lot better. So whether that's yoga, and I've got yoga practices for grief if you want to have a look in my online yoga circle, or whether it's going for a run. So I know me personally, I'm not a runner at all, but I found that high intensity, getting out, really getting my blood pumping helped me when I was at my worst. It could be a boxing class, maybe it's a exercise class at your gym, maybe it's going for a bike ride, just something to get you out, get your body moving, and help to start physically processing the grief as well, because it's a really important part of it. So the fourth thing I recommend is sleep, which sort of goes against the previous point, but both are important, so hear me out. After losing my babies, I feel like one part of me felt like I almost had to put on a show of coping, not let the grief of this put me in a slump, but actually grief is exhausting. Your body is processing so much, your mind and emotions are doing so much, that I really think sleep is really helpful. It's going to help you look after your body, recover physically, because remember, you've lost a lot of blood, that's a lot of energy. Your body is trying to restore, and sleep is a great way to do that. So highly recommend getting as much sleep as you can. Of course, you don't want to stay in bed all day, that's not going to help, but healthy amounts of sleep where you can is going to be really good for you. The fifth thing that I recommend that you do is to talk to someone, whether that's a counselor, whether that's a friend who's experienced it, whether it's your mum, someone who really understands and who can listen empathetically, because it's really important that we share our story and we don't just keep it quiet, and share all parts of it, not just those that you feel like others can hear. You need to find someone that you can openly share, kind of like those dirty little secrets you have about your grief. So where you feel guilty, where you feel like you did things wrong, it's important to be able to voice them. So hopefully other people can help you through not feeling that way anymore, because it's so not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. And I think it's important to be able to work through those feelings that we kind of want to hide away from. And finding someone that you can trust and talk to is a part of that. The final thing that I recommend as a part of healing is channeling your creative energy. So growing a baby is a creative process. Like, it comes from our creative womb space. We are literally creating life. And then when you lose a baby, you still have all this creative energy. I know for me personally, I still felt really creative and I had nowhere to channel it. And creative energy that has no channel often becomes destructive. So you might creatively start coming up with negative thoughts about yourself or your relationship, or you start picking apart things. I know for me, I found myself picking apart things. And it feels like that PMS energy, that autumn energy that you experience during that second part of your cycle, that can be what it feels like. And it's the same thing there. If you don't channel that creative energy, it can become quite destructive. So maybe find a creative project that you can work on, whether it be about your baby or whether it be a distraction from your baby. That needs to be your choice. As a creative project about your baby, it could be making a piece of jewelry for yourself, it could be an artwork, it could be a scrapbook, it could be poetry, any sort of creative project that you feel kind of honors your baby. Alternatively, it could be something that has nothing to do with babies if that's just too painful right now. And it might be something entirely different. It could be creative in the kitchen. It could be creative with what you're wearing. There are so many creative things you can do, but I think it's really important to recognize that you might feel this energy at this time, and if you don't give it something to do, it can become a little bit destructive in your life. So they're my 6 things that I recommend you do as a part of healing from miscarriage. If you have any other suggestions, I would love if you would write them in the comments, because I get women all the time emailing me and also watching these videos who are looking for ways to heal. And if they can read your comment and see others who have gone through it and have found things that work for them, I think that's going to help them so much. So please put your comment in below if you have any other suggestions. If you would like more healing practices like this, the fourth section of my book is practices and prompts for you to journal and work through to help you come to a place where you can accept the loss of your baby and start feeling good in your life again. So if that's something you're looking for, check out my book. I would love to have you read it. It would mean the world to me. It really has been a labor of love. I guess that's where I channeled my creative energy after losing my babies, and in a way it feels like another baby that I have created especially for you. So once again, I'm so sorry that you've had to go through this. My heart really does feel for yours. Thank you as always for being here.